Hello and welcome to another episode of Invalid Entry. My name is James Taylor and we are on Advent Day 5 and it still matches the calendar at the top of the screen, which is good. And on the Advent calendar today we have unveiled this one. I have to point to the right screen, you can't see. This is the king. We are going to be adding kings to the camels that we made yesterday. So let's go with that. Let's go back to Nativity, and the first thing we want to do is we want to have a sprite sheet. So yesterday I think I demonstrated how one sprite sheet could have a series of pictures in. Today we are going to show that the kings actually have a bunch of kings. So instead of programmatically generating lots of variants and trying to do colour fills and things, which you can do but it's a little bit more tricky, what I've got here is the rider pasted 3 times with different colour beards and different colour crowns, different headsets, but they're all basically the kings. So the camels are the same as each other, and then because the kings are different, I'm going to blip the kings over the top of there. And you see they've only got one leg each. That's because the one will be hidden down the other side of the camel. These assets I drew. I based them on the first one. I think is very heavily based upon the one from the asset pack I got, but I built these other ones up the same. So they're very slightly different because you're going to animate them in sync with the camel. So you save that as a PNG, transparent background, and all the rest of it. 4 bytes per pixel, compressed, etc. And then we go basically into generating the XML for it. So in the XML, what I've done here is I've actually broken it down to King 1, King 2, and King 3, and you've got these walk 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again they're in sync with the other ones. But the idea here is that namespacing kicking in is beginning to kick in on my JSON, which you didn't really see on the camel because they're all just the camel. So I've very definitely got 3 sets of sprites in here and then nicely broken down. Again, I didn't explain last time, but this is basically the top left coordinate and this is the width and height. So it's always 68 by 68. It's the laid out. If you're going to make a sprite sheet, I would suggest you lay them out nicely so that all your sprites are in individual boxes. Don't try and compress it to use up the least amount of sprite sheet space. I make your sprite sheets maintainable rather than having to work out the locations of every single one. There doesn't seem to be a very good standard for how to do these files. There are some people out there doing XML files, and I don't like XML for parsing. There's all kinds of attacks and things, security problems with XML, so we'll go do that. Also, you may notice right above my head there are some camels running. I just chroma keyed in yesterday's program, okay, and we're going to try and update that later. So, what we're going to do today is we've got these kings, and we've got our camel class from yesterday, and now what we're going to do is we're going to add the kings to it. It's that simple. So the first thing I want to do is I want to load up the sprite sheet. And again, so my sprite sheet doesn't really have this concept of, basically if you take it to load one, it will overwrite whatever's ever in that namespace. And it does it on purpose because in the Antiscape game, which I'm writing with Tom, we do replace the assets. So if you change your skin, you change your identity, your look and feel, it will just replace you in the asset directory, and then everyone's got the same assets. So that is why it does it that way. Oop, don't want that's going there. So if kings, and they share in self.spritedex.sheets, they share the same spritedex. So again, I only want to load it once. So the next time it's initialized, the next time round, it's already in the spritedex. It'll only actually load the sheet once, which is good. .load sheet asset / kings.json, and then going to kings. So what we're going to do now is we're going to surface.blit spritedex.image, and it's going to be kings. It's going to be king 1. And it's going to be walk _1. And then the position of that is going to be a bit fun. So I will tell you now, you have to sort of work it out because they're different sizes. I have to sort of adjust it. So it's going to be sort of that and modified. But because it's sort of modified, it's actually going to be that, where basically I'm taking the first one and I'm going to add a few pixels here, and I'm going to add I'm probably going to subtract, but maybe add a few pixels here. Now, what I found is sometimes you have to kind of guess how much you're adding and removing, and then you have to sort of bump it there. So if I add 30 there, and then I'm going to add 40 there as a guess, right? When I run it, that is not my... function mixed destination, because I didn't actually pass in the king position there. And straight away that worked, but I forgot I have to pass in a 1 to put it onto this screen so you can all see. Okay, so the king isn't quite in the right place. He's way too far back, and he's sort of over the hump. So I mean, it looks pretty cool, but he's over the hump. He's not animated yet, which is fine. So what we're going to do is just budge him forwards a little bit, and basically play with those numbers until we get that right. And run it again. And now you can see he's hovering mid-air, but he's probably in about the right place. So we want to budge him down maybe about 3 pixels, I reckon, to begin with. So 43. One more pixel, just one more down, I think. Just looking very carefully at those pixels. There we go. He's sort of in the right place there. It's very close. So remember, this is just one still the animation, so when we animate him. We can animate him very quickly here because we know this trick here. We just do %s and %self dot animation position. So that will now animate him. And there we have 3 kings riding the camels. Okay, it's very nice, very easy. But they're the same king. We have George Clooney 3 times, and we don't just want George Clooney. We also want Mark Wahlberg, and of course the best king, Ice Cube. So I should have really named that. I should have named them that in the JSON, but I didn't. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back here, and we're going to add an extra argument here of king specifier. And we're going to put king specifier equals none, and then here we just go. But you don't have to do this, by the way. Some people do, some people don't. I like to declare what my variables are on my attributes of class are, and not use dynamic in there, because then I sort of know what they are later on. But it gives my ID a little bit more of a hint. King specifier equals king specifier, and we also have to go back to the run me here, where we actually here now inside this go. This is going to be king 1, and this is going to be king 2, and this is going to be king 3. Okay, so very quickly we can now run that, and we have 3 kings because we didn't actually tell it here to not use this hard-coded value, but to say self.king specifier. There you go, 3 kings animated, charging across the desert at not quite 88 miles an hour, because they're doing 88 miles an hour, they will enter the time warp. That's it for today. I hope you're all enjoying these little videos. I'm trying to keep them nice and short. Please hit like, please leave a comment, tell your friends, and yeah, do something fun. Show me what you've done. I have seen one other person do some cool Python program for Christmas, so I'm going to steal his code soon and show you guys that. So yeah, I'm very excited about this stuff. I think anything which gets you interested in programming, anything gets you inspired, is a really good thing. I'll see you all in the next episode.